Pilipino, ang dugo'y maharlika. Likas sa aking puso at hikain kay ganda sa Pilipinas na aking bayan, lantay na perlas ng silanganan, waring na tipo ng kayamanan ng may kapal. Ako ay Pilipino, ako ay Pilipino, taas noo kahit kanino, ang Pilipino ay ako.
Legitimate landowners all over the country, acknowledged and considered as valid title owners of a parcel of land nowadays, even without probative origin and proper conveyances. History reveals that the government and our public lands were acquired from friar lands. It was in 1902 when Governor Taft visited the United States. He worked for the passage of the Philippine Bill of 1902 and the purchase of the friar lands. On his way back to Manila, he visited Rome and told Pope Leo XIII, 1878 to 1903, of the government's plan to purchase the lands in order to settle agrarian unrest in the Philippines. In December 1903, the Philippine government purchased the friar lands, a total of 423,000 acres, or 171,315 hectares, belonging to the Augustinian, Franciscan, Dominican, and Recollet orders for $7,237,000. Prior to the installation of the Second Philippine Commission in 1902, the government was too late and never had a chance to acquire property. The vast tracts of land were already distributed and owned by the Spanish friars, religious orders, and individuals who rendered imminence and victory in the name of King of Spain throughout the centuries. 333 years since the time of colonization. In a clearer point of view, the Philippine government has no inborn property, forcing the American government to purchase from the friar lands, which is the Friar Land Act of 1904, for distribution to landless Filipinos, the Homestead Program. The acquisition of private lands with just compensation is in conformity and giving due respect to the Treaty of Paris, as cited in President William McKinley's instruction to the said Philippine Commission on April 7, 1900, that if the same public interest requires the extinguishment of property rights lawfully acquired and held, due compensation shall be made out of the public treasury therefore. If the reader, after being informed by these events, still ignores these glaring facts, only manifests the following. Number one, he does not believe that the Philippines was colonized by Spain. Number two, there is no country known as Philippine Islands, and as a consequence, there is no such thing as Filipino. According to Jose Rizal, one who ignores his country's history is someone without a soul. To every Filipino who has occupied lands in this country, security comes in the form of a title. Security can be the greatest motivator for development, especially in times when our country is working to create its niche in the global economy of the next millennium. Filipinos should know that the writer, despite continuous persecution and annihilation, fighting for these monumental documents against those who have vested interests in the subject lands, are still seeking wise and peaceful measures and a just settlement of the controversies and redress of the wrongdoings which have caused strife and bloodshed in the past. Filipinos should know that the writer's plans are one of the effective ways to lessen poverty, the main root of insurrection that continues to be a malignant cancer to our society, an obstruction to the sustainable economic development of our nation. Filipinos should know that the noble objective of the writer and his colleagues, by virtue of the power vested in him by the lawful owner, has been consistent to render charitable services to the general public by distributing the subject lands, particularly among indigent families, in accordance with the rendered court orders, decisions, and to serve their fellow men socially, financially, morally, and legally. The tyrannical policy of the government, local and national, and their cohorts, which resorted to direct and or indirect acts of land confiscation, land grabbing, and encroachment of private properties from legitimate owners, should put to an end. Otherwise, tomorrow, the torrent system might totally fall into a ravenous pitfall, endangering the whole nation, sparing no one, wealthy or not, tagged to be as squatters, the victim of a rotten system through the issuance of massive fake land titles. Don't let this happen to you, your relatives and friends.
Kaya nga kung magpipilit nga po sila na makukuha at mga lupa, ay mapipilitan po ako magbahay dyan sa lupa ng highway. Diyan po sa gitna ng kalsada.
Don't be a victim of fake titles, land grabbing, and corruption activities in government agencies concerned in land titling. Frederic Bastiat, 1801-1850, a French economist, statesman, brilliantly and presciently described this encroachment by government. The law perverted, and the police powers of the state perverted along with it. The law, I say, not only turned from its proper purpose, but made to follow an entirely contrary purpose. The law became the weapon of every kind of greed. Instead of checking crime, the law itself is guilty of the evils it is supposed to punish. Emily Zola once wrote, "Nothing was left for the peasant. He owned neither the earth, nor the water, nor the fire, nor even the air he breathed. Suffering came to him from all quarters, from man, from nature, from himself." The above-cited phrase vividly captures the miseries presently being experienced by millions of Filipinos, but hopefully the truth presented in this documentary will plant the seeds for the fulfillment of our dreams, the realization of a squatter-free Filipino society, For this reason, we are encouraging each and every Filipino to participate in this grand endeavor and take back the lost chance of owning a piece of land.
Ang bayan ko'y tanging ikaw, Pilipinas kong mahal, ang puso ko at buhay man.